Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand. On today's show we have Cantona speaking out against Ineos, Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the current Manchester United ownership. He always has some very strong thoughts and he's not held back once again, so we will get into them. Do you agree with them? Do you think he's being harsh? What do you make of what's happened behind the scenes regarding Cantona and Sir Jim Ratcliffe when they were having discussions about the ownership of Manchester United? He reveals all in a recent interview and we will get into it. He also speaks about Old Trafford, how match days are going downhill. I mean, it's his thoughts. He's played in the ground. He's been a spectator. Let's get into his thoughts and see what he has to say. Also, some updates. A big update on Kobbie Mainoo and his injury. A big update on Joshua Zirkzee and his future at Manchester United. An update on Benjamin Sesko and his injury, which we will get into. And also, as well, a surprise midfield target that I want to ask you guys the question. Would you go for this player? He might not be top of the list, he might not be the most fancy player, but we could get him at a really good price or even for free, and we will get into it. So, Premier League proven as well. Can you guess who it is? Get in the comments. But everybody, happy Friday. I am wearing the fabulous United Stand Christmas jumper. It is limited edition every single year, and you know, some people like to collect them. If not, it's just a really nice Christmas jumper anyway. It gets you in the spirit. It's based off the third kit. The link is down in the description. I'm wearing mine today because I thought, you know what? It's a really, really, really cold day here in Manchester. If you live anywhere in Manchester, you will know right now the weather is shocking. It's like blizzards outside, and I just thought I need my nice warm Christmas jumper on, so I've got it on the show. Goldbridge isn't behind me with a gun saying you've got to wear it. Like, I actually genuinely did want to wear it today, so make sure you go and grab yours in the description down below. Welcome everybody to the show. I mean, just get any comments in as well. We're a community. I want to get into it. I mean, what you doing this weekend? What you doing with your Friday night? I'm going out tonight. The weather's kind of putting me off, but I'm still going to be there. It's my friend's birthday. What are you guys doing? Let us know, because I like to, you know, have these sort of conversations. You know, nice, chilled Friday vibes. Happy Friday, everyone. But let's get into Eric Cantona's quotes on Sir Jim Ratcliffe. And this is how he starts off speaking about Sir Jim Ratcliffe rejecting his offer to help rebuild Manchester United. Because if you do remember, Eric Cantona was very vocal about wanting to be involved in new ownership coming in and what he thinks is best for the club, how to get the club back on track. He feels a lot of emotions with the club. He's a big Manchester United fan. He wants us to do well, and you can understand that, and you can feel his passion towards Manchester United coming through in a lot of the ways that he has spoken out. One, against the ownership. Two, about Manchester United needing to raise their standards to get back to the top. And he actually offered Sir Jim Ratcliffe his help in that. Whether you think that was the right thing to do, let me know. But this is what he had to say, because Sir Jim Ratcliffe apparently rejected Eric Cantona's offer to help rebuild Manchester United, and he said this: "I have many other passions and projects, but I thought that for 2 or 3 years I could maybe put those to the side and try and give something to this club which has given everything to me." Just gotta love that. But he didn't seem interested. "I did what I had to do, so I don't feel guilty anymore. I tried my best." Sir Alex Ferguson created a style of beautiful attacking football, which the new owners should have used. Instead, they destroyed it. So that is like very, very bold from Eric Cantona. And Eric Cantona has always been outspoken. He's always been a bit of a character, but his heart is in the right place and he wants Manchester United to do well. I mean, just there saying he wanted to give back to the club that gave everything to him. It's not as if he wanted anything out of it apart from Manchester United just to be successful. He reached out to the new ownership and wanted to offer some advice, and they sort of ignored him, is what he's basically saying. And to be honest with you, I don't know how you feel about ex-players being involved in the running or the ownership of Manchester United. Some people don't want to mix the two, some people are open to it. But I do always think if you're coming in to the club as an outsider, of course, you know, Sir Jim Ratcliffe has paid a lot of money to be in that position, so he can do what he wants to do at the end of the day. He is a shareholder of Manchester United. He's a co-owner of Manchester United. He's going to be able to make the decisions he wants to make. But if you're coming in as an outsider that's never been involved in the club before in your life, then I think it would be a good thing to at least listen to people that have been in and around the club when it was successful. There's two arguments from this. There's some people that believe Manchester United live in the past and that we're too busy trying to get back to the Sir Alex Ferguson days that we're not focusing on the now and the future and rebuilding our own future success. There's some people that think, well, Eric Cantona's been there, he's won, he's been under Sir Alex Ferguson, who is the best British manager of all time, if not one of the best footballing managers of all time, who's won everything that there was to win at Manchester United, and you should really take note of that to bring it into our future, because since Sir Alex Ferguson departed this football club, Manchester United have not been able to be consistently successful or emulate really like even a speck of the success that Sir Alex Ferguson have done. I mean, we've not won a Premier League title since Sir Alex Ferguson left the club. So some people think we should take these figures into account. Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos should take these figures into account. But then there's some people, I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, there was reports at the time that, of course, there's massive amounts of respect for Sir Alex Ferguson, what he's done for Manchester United. But the new ownership feels like we need to move away from the past. I mean, respect it and embrace our history, of course, but move away from that and focus on building a successful future, because time has passed now, and what was then might not necessarily work now. However, I do think there's a way of going about things, and I definitely think that there can be a world, and if it was me, there should be a world in which former players who have been massively successful in the history of this football club and know what it takes to put on that shirt and win, and former manager, i.e. Sir Alex Ferguson, who has been massively successful and knows what it is to manage that club to glory days and 2 Champions Leagues, 2 Premier Leagues, their advice should be taken note of. But Sir Alex Ferguson, there's too many sirs. Sir Jim Ratcliffe didn't want to take on Eric Cantona, and that is his decision at the end of the day. Eric Cantona hasn't paid, what was it, 4 billion, I think it was, that was kind of, it wasn't 4 billion, but that was kind of the share price at the time. How much did he actually put in, Sir Jim Ratcliffe? How much money did he put on? Let me just double check that right now, because I don't want to get it wrong. Money, Manchester United. I'm just looking it up now, how much his actual... It was 1.3 billion for a 27.7% stake. So it was kind of around the 5 million share... Sorry, 5 million? Getting my billions and millions mixed up. It was kind of around the 5 billion share price that the Glazers wanted for the club. So he paid 1.3 billion for a 27.7% stake. So when you look at it like that, he's the one who's invested the money, so therefore he gets to make the decisions. It wasn't Eric Cantona that went and paid all that money, but he was just offering Sir Jim Ratcliffe some advice and a helping hand, and he didn't take it. So that Eric Cantona is not too happy with me, but the quote that I take from that as well is, Sir Alex Ferguson created a style of beautiful attacking football which new owners should have used, but instead they destroyed it. I don't think they've destroyed it, and to me that hints at he's not a fan of the Amorim system, the 3 at the back. He's not a fan of the 3-4-3, and he feels like Manchester United was built upon, flair, wingers up and down the pitch. Sir Alex Ferguson, having them attacking wide players, playing a 4 at the back. I feel like he thinks that's the style of football that Manchester United should play, and they've potentially destroyed that by bringing a manager in who has a completely different style of football. We can sometimes shift to a 4 at the back when we're in game with Ruben Amorim, but his style of football is different, and he feels like maybe Amorim's style is not suited to how Manchester United should play, and there is some people that feel that way. To me, I don't care as long as we win. Of course I want to see attacking football. Of course I don't want to be a team that, parks the bus and doesn't show any attacking flair. But we've got players in that team who can do that. You've got the Mbumos, you've got the Cunhas, you've got the Bruno Fernandes, you've got the players who can provide. Ahmad even can provide that football that just gets you off your seat. You have got them players who can do that. So with Ruben Amorim, I'm not bothered about what formation he has. Would it be my ideal pick? No. But I'm not bothered about that as long as I see good football and we win. They're the things I want to see. So whether it's with the typical 3-4-3 that he's playing, whether it's with a 4-4-2, I don't care, as long as we're playing football that is good on the eye and that we're winning football matches. For example, You know, you look at the way Thomas Frank is playing at Spurs, and that's not my ideal way of playing football. I don't think it is. I think he is too pragmatic at times. I wouldn't want to see that in Manchester United over a sustained period of time. So I don't necessarily think it's down to the formation, but I think it's the way that you play it and what you are watching every week. And is the team going out and dominating? Is the team going out and playing free-flowing football that gets you off your seat? Are we winning football matches? They're all the questions that you've got to ask yourself. And as much as it's going to be an adjustment period to that formation, which I feel like people have adjusted to now, it doesn't mean you can't play attacking football. It is different though, and I've got to be honest, even from the older generations down, we're used to seeing, you know, them wide flair players that we don't necessarily have now. Amad and Mbeumo are probably the closest thing to that, but the way that Amorim's trying to play his style is a little bit different to what Manchester United have historically had. But different doesn't always mean bad, and although it's not started in the best way, if that takes off and we do start winning football games which in a consistent manner, and we do start to compete at the top, then people won't be complaining about the formation that he's playing in. That's what Amorim's got to prove. But anyway, let me know what your thoughts are on that. I do miss the wingers. Honestly, I have people in my family that speak to me and say that, you know, they like that style of football with them out-and-out wingers. I do miss it sometimes, but Mbeumo is a figure like that. He is. Like, he does play that sort of way. He's a hard-working winger that can also play inside as well. He's just a very, very good footballer. It's not as if you can never play with wingers in this system. Wing-backs, I don't think will ever be the same as them tricky wingers that we've had in the past. However, Sir Alex Ferguson, one of his main principles was hard work all over the pitch. Ryan Giggs, David Beckham, they weren't just good at going forward, they got back. They helped their full-back out. They were up and down that pitch like no tomorrow. And I'm not saying Amad is David Beckham or Ryan Giggs, but Amad does that. When he's playing wing-back, he's up and he's providing a relationship with Bryan Mbeumo and the forward line to link up the attack. And he's so dangerous in the final third, but he's an absolute grafter and he's back as well. And Mbeumo does the same thing. Getting forward, good goal scorer, good eye for a pass, intelligent player, really good in the attacking third and breaking them lines and breaking through defences. However, he will trap back, he will work hard. And we missed that in Manchester United for a long period of time. Sir Alex Ferguson, despite how good our wingers were under him, and I mean, even the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, like, he had to work back. Like, these players had to work back in a Sir Alex Ferguson system. They weren't just good at going forward, they also helped their teammates out, because if they didn't, Sir Alex Ferguson wouldn't have it. So Amorim's instilling that into the players, and I think that got lost for a while. That hard work has to be part of your game no matter where you play on the pitch. So, yeah, let's see how it develops, but I can understand why people do miss them. I mean, not everybody's Cristiano Ronaldo. He's a once-in-a-lifetime sort of talent, but do miss them tricky wingers that can get you off your seat and can, you know, be them flair players. But I still think we have some of them players in the team that can do that for us. It's just played in a slightly different way. Tom McBride says, time to get festive, I see, Beth. Yes, exactly, in the Christmas spirit. And Keel Robinson says, Beth, what is our strategy to score goals? Well, that's the thing at the moment as well, and I think that's a really good question. I don't think that Manchester United are currently in a position where we look like a team that is just going to score for fun and can completely put another team to the sword and just unplayable. We don't look like that sort of team. And not all of our goals come from brilliant team play. I understand that. However, if you actually look at where we are right now, compared to last season we were conceding a lot of goals, but we weren't scoring a lot of goals. This season, we're still conceding quite a lot of goals, but goals scored, we are up there in the league. We are scoring goals. They might not be the prettiest goals, they might not be the most well-worked goals, but we are scoring goals. Whether that be set pieces, whether that be individual brilliance, we are doing that. So, yes, could it just be that we've got better players now? Mbeumo is a much better player than anybody that we had last year in the front line. Amad is really doing well with the help of Mbeumo on that side, and I think they're developing a really good partnership, and Amad's kind of getting to the next level now in his career. Cunha's come into the team, who is a really good player that can take us to the next level as well in terms of the attacking output that we have. Do we just have better players? Is that why we're scoring more goals? Or are we creating more well-worked team goals? I actually think it's because we've got better players. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you have better players, you're going to have a better outcome. I would like to see more well-worked team goals come into fruition. I would like us to play more fluidly. You know, quite a few passes building up to a really well-worked goal. I do want to see Manchester United do that more. Keele, I think you're getting at that point there, and I don't think we do that enough, to be honest with you. I kind of do agree with you there. Eric Cantona also said this: I went to Old Trafford last season for the game against Manchester City and I thought it was quiet. Manchester United fans prefer to go to away matches to be with the real fans than be surrounded by people who come from different parts of the world just to go to the merchandise store. We have to be closer to the real things of football, to the working people. Football is a working class game. It's important we don't lose that. If I lived in England, I would prefer to be a fan of a club in the 3rd or 4th division. I don't find the energy we had in the past. It's not the fault of the fans. It's the fault of the people who are in charge of the clubs. It's the economic system. I'm going to be totally honest and just give my opinion on that. Of course, Eric Cantona is completely entitled to his opinion, and that is perfectly A-OK, and I think there's a lot of people that would agree with what Eric Cantona is saying there. And I think you can partly agree with someone, and that's where I'm at. I've been a season ticket holder at Manchester United for quite a while now, and yes, I wasn't there in the prime years of Manchester United when they were winning everything. I wish I was. Of course, I was around for the back end of Sir Alex Ferguson, and I was a supporter of the club at the time. But as I've grown older, we moved into the Moyes era, and then, you know, it's just kind of been a bumpy ride since then. However, so I can't really recall like what the atmosphere was like in 2005 when I was 4 years old. Do you know what I mean? So Eric Cantona can attest to that more than I can. However, I don't think it's fair to say that Old Trafford is just quiet because, you know, the away fans are the real fans and people that come to Old Trafford are just there for merchandise and to kind of go to the merchandise store. I don't think that's fair because there's a lot of people that go to Old Trafford and pay good money from around the world to come and watch their club play football because they watch him every single week getting up at stupid o'clock, and they've saved up all year to come and watch Manchester United, and they're buzzing with it. And the club is where it's at because of its worldwide support. So I'm from Manchester, and you know I have a season ticket at Manchester United, but I would never disrespect a fan coming from wherever in the world to come and watch their club play football. Like, everyone should have that opportunity. If you're supporting Manchester United from Manchester or Timbuktu, like, you're entitled to come and pay your money to come and see Manchester United play at Old Trafford. There is a group of season ticket holders that go every single week and are there in support every single week. I think as well, a part to play in the atmosphere going downhill is the fact that Manchester United have been really poor. Like, do you know how... and again, I don't want to come across ungrateful because so many people would love a season ticket in Manchester United. But last season, for me, I had to get myself up to go to some of the games. And don't get me wrong, every week I will go because that's what you do. It's your football club. It's, you know, win or lose, like, you are there. It's not just for the glory. You're there for the club. That's what you do when you support your team. But there were so many shocking performances. You can't really blame the fans for the atmosphere dipping a little bit. I mean, we've been there through thick and thin with that Manchester United side. Even in that Lyon game where we nearly made ourselves look like the biggest embarrassment, the fans were still there behind the team. And that's what massively helps get it over the line. So Old Trafford, when it's rocking, is a beautiful place. But the reason it's not been rocking as much as of late, partly maybe it's because of the way they do the seating in the ground, and the owners and the people in charge of that should maybe look at that and think, you know what, how do we position the seats so we have a better atmosphere? So we do have, because every club's going to have hospitality. That's just the way it goes. How do we have less hospitality in this area? How do we have more, you know, loud supporters in this area? And how do they work that? But a big reason why there has been less days at Old Trafford as of late where the atmosphere has been 10 out of 10 rocking is because the team hasn't been performing and the fans are drained. Like the fans that turn up every single week in the rain, in the thunderstorms, and watch us get beat and embarrassed over and over and over again. That's what has happened recently. That's where the atmosphere has gone down. This season, they've moved I think they moved some of the exec seats and they made them into fan zones. And I think the atmosphere has been a lot better this season. Where I'm sat in the ground, I think the atmosphere has been a lot better. And when Old Trafford is really on it, it is such an amazing place. It really is. Like when we are proper up for it, the Old Trafford crowd and it's roaring, like it's the best atmosphere. So I do think they have made some adjustments to make the atmosphere better. So I can kind of understand what Eric Cantona is saying. The away fans are the best away fans in the country, and we outdo home support sometimes, you know, our away fans. I mean, not even sometimes, most of the time. You can hear them through the TV. If you're watching an away game on the TV, you can hear our United away fans. They are some of they are the best away fans in England by a country mile, in my opinion. From what I've seen, anyway, they are the best away fans. And I get that football has become a lot more about how many exec seats can we fit there to get the most money, and I get that aspect of it. But also you've got to pay respect to the worldwide support. That's creating revenues whilst Manchester United is really struggling. That's, you know, the reason why Manchester United is as big as it is. That's, you know, sales all over the world is the reason why we can afford the transfer windows that we have. So we've got to respect our worldwide fan base, but I also do understand some of the points he's coming from. And I think, like I just said, a big improvement has been moving some of the exec seats, or, you know, decreasing the amount of exec seats and making them into fan zones. And I think that is what Sir Jim Ratcliffe has been working to do. But of course, you know, money still needs to be made and we need to balance the books and all that sort of thing. So I want Manchester United to have the best atmosphere in the league, and I want Old Trafford to be its best all the time. Of course we do, and I do think we are starting to get back on track. One, because we're winning more home games, which is making a massive difference, and two, the fan zones are better now than what they were. The flags and everything like that, that does create a better atmosphere, and we are getting there. So yeah, it is up to the ownership to kind of take responsibility for that as well. Tom McBride says, as a season ticket holder, the away games are way more real than the home ones. I'm very lucky, but I would trade my season ticket to attend every away in a heartbeat. See, I don't get to attend Premier League aways as much as I would want to. So I can't attest to that, but I can imagine it. I know people that go to the aways and they absolutely love it. It's like, people tell me, you've got to come to the aways. It's the best experience, and I really want to start doing that more often, to be honest with you. It just seems like such a good day out, and you can tell that the fans, like, they're absolutely bang up for it, and it looks amazing when you see them there, when you see the footage of them there. So I kind of understand that, but also, you know, you can attest to that. Our away support, fantastic. The away days are the ones, and the away days, it is like hardcore United fans. So the atmosphere is fantastic, but you can still, you know, kind of acknowledge that without saying, you know, Old Trafford's turned into just a tourist attraction, because I think there is more to Old Trafford than just being a tourist attraction. Of course, it does get that way because that is Manchester United, but it's more than that for me. Ian Tracy says, the problem with how they do the seating has been around for years. Roy Keane was going on about it with his prawn sandwich comments 25 years ago. Yeah, I remember that. Well, I remember that. I remember hearing that and seeing that. Just to kind of remind you before we go into the nitty-gritty bit of the news regarding the midfield and Joshua Zirkzee updates and all that jazz, this is a really important thing that I've got to bring into the show, and I'm very proud to bring it into the show, actually. So this Saturday, Mark Goldbridge is bringing you a charity special all day on the That's Football YouTube channel. 12 hours of broadcasting from 11 a.m. through to 11 p.m. with some gems in between, including a boxing watch-along. It's Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn 2. And you can join Mark this Saturday for Mary Curie 12-hour special live on That's Football. I wanted to get the details absolutely spot on. But this is a really special thing that Kobbie does every single year, and he doesn't do it for the recognition or the credit, although I think he does deserve more recognition for doing this. The amount of money that he has raised for charity is absolutely outstanding. And please, if you can give anything, the link is in the description. It's for an amazing cause, and it's fantastic what Kobbie does every single year to raise money for Mary Curie. So make sure you're there and be part of it. Even donate anything you can, but even if you can't donate, just being there, smashing a like on the video, anything that you can do to help share it to other people, to get the word out there. It brings more attention to it, which means more money can be made for an amazing cause, which is the Mary Curie charity. And what we try and do every single year as well is try and raise £1,000 before the stream even kicks off, and it just gives us a really good boost every single year. So make sure you share that around and try and give anything that you can as well. Thank you, everyone. Even if, say if you were going to donate a super chat, that's absolutely brilliant, but why don't you match that donation and put it in the Just Giving for the charity as well. That'd really help this time of year. But yeah, let's get on with the rest of the show because we've got quite a lot to rattle off before we wrap up. So, Kobbie Mainoo injury update. Manchester United expect Kobbie Mainoo to be fit for the Everton game after missing Spurs. Knock is not thought to be serious, and that's coming in from Samuel Lucke. So that seems to me like there's some news on Kobbie Mainoo and that he's going to be fit and fine for the Everton game. Will he get any minutes? That's another question. But it's good that his injury just wasn't too serious and it was just a little knock. I'd love to see Kobbie Mainoo starting to get some more minutes, to be honest with you. I think he needs them and I think he deserves them. I really do think he deserves them. So let's hope he can get some minutes in that game. And then I also wanted to give you a little bit of a Sesko injury update. So this was interesting because we've not really had an injury update on Benjamin Sesko, not a clear one anyway. We've been told it's not going to be too long, but then we've not been told the length of it, but he's not with the Slovenian national team. So we're kind of confused when it comes to the Benjamin Sesko injury. So I'm waiting to get a good injury update on this, but we're in the dark currently. But this is what the Slovenian manager had to say. He said, completely expected from the English media, because he was clarifying the recent media coverage stemming from his initial frustration over the lack of communication from Manchester United regarding Benjamin Sesko's knee injury. He says, completely expected from the English media, but I emphasise this once again. The moment communication was established between us and the Manchester United medical team, the problem was solved in 5 minutes. I thank the club for their cooperation. Our medical team checked their documentation. The matter was resolved quickly. I wish Benjamin a successful rehabilitation and a speedy return to the field because everyone who knows him knows that's where he feels best. See, to me, if the problem was solved within 5 minutes, it can't be that big of an issue, surely. But then again, it is just sending over, the medical records that Manchester United have, and the Slovenian national team looks over that. But then this coming out, literally just came out before we went live, might be an indication. I might be reading too much into it, but it might be an indication that it's not going to be the quickest of turnarounds, because Samuel Lucke is also saying this. He said, Joshua Zirkzee has been told there is no chance of a mid-season departure from Manchester United. Bear in mind, Joshua Zirkzee has had round about 90 minutes in the Premier League so far this season. The only game I really remember seeing him in was the Burnley game where Cunha, and he only came on the pitch because Cunha got injured early doors. And I actually thought he played all right in that game, and he's barely seen a minute since. So a player that's barely seen a minute, who's banging on the door to leave, not because he wants to leave United, just because he wants to play football, has now been told there's no chance of him going in January. And I know the report was that Manchester United were reluctant to do any sort of sale for Joshua Zirkzee in January anyway. But could this be anything to do with the extent of Benjamin Sesko's injury? I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping they just want depth, because hopefully Benjamin Sesko can be fit as soon as possible. But the fact Joshua Zirkzee in this international break is being told there's no chance that you are going to be allowed to leave in January, you could read into that Sesko's injury might be longer than we expected, or might be one that, you know, we've got to watch carefully. So let's see if anything does come out on Benjamin Sesko. Hopefully he's okay, but it kind of reads to me as if, oh, there might be something a little bit more in that. I hope there's not, but potentially that is something that you could think if Joshua Zirkzee is being told that now. We've not yet had any sort of big update on when Sesko is going to be able to return. Last thing I wanted to bring in, I mean, there's two things actually. So the first thing is Man United are reportedly exploring a move for Sporting Lisbon's Salvador Balopé in an 18-year-old defensive prospect. He can operate at right back or right midfield, is compared to former teammate Nuno Mendes due to his dynamic running and strong reading of the game. But at 6'2", he offers a more physical presence both defensively and in attack. And that is coming from Simon Jones at the Mail. So a little bit there on a prospect, an 18-year-old defensive prospect, which you can assume if we did go for him, wouldn't go straight into the first team, because Manchester United are doing this thing now where we're balancing bringing in the likes of the Cunhas and the Mbumos at that age where, you know, we've still got time in the side. They're entering the prime years, 25 years old, but are also bringing in young talents. I think a lot of us thought Diego Leon was going to go basically into the first team squad, but he's yet to even really break into that first team squad yet. I think he's been on the bench maybe once or twice this season. He's around that age as well. I think he's 18 now. I think we bought him at 17. I think now he's 18. Harry Armas is 18. He's out on loan, doing really, really well, by the way. So these younger 18-year-olds don't seem to be coming straight into the first team under Ruben Amorim. But it is kind of really exciting that it's someone that Ruben Amorim will know about, that he'll have kept tabs on because of his time at Sporting. And, you know, if he's being compared to Nuno Mendes, I think Nuno Mendes would be the absolute perfect player on that left side of Manchester United's defence/attack, the wing-back, the left wing-back. I think he'd be the absolute perfect player with the perfect attributes to be the best left wing-back in this Ruben Amorim system at Manchester United. Unfortunately, he plays for one of the best teams in the world in PSG, and I don't think there's any chance of us getting him. But if there's a prospect that can turn into the next Nuno Mendes, but on the right-hand side, I absolutely would love to explore that. I don't know anything about him. I can't say I do. I'd have to do more research. But it came up in the Mail, and Simon Jones is usually really good. So that could be another young talent that we're looking at that we can then build up. Do you remember Sir Jim Ratcliffe's words? We don't want to buy Mbappe. We want to build the next Mbappe. Now, I'm not saying this kid's going to be the Mbappe of right backs. However, wing backs are a weak area for us. If we're getting some players in that have the potential to hit them heights and be really good players in these areas, then it sets us up for the future really nicely if Ruben Amorim is successful and we stick with that system. Diego Leon, we've not seen much of him yet, but a lot of good things coming out of him from Carrington about his development and his strengths. Harry Armas smashing it on loan at Sheffield Wednesday. They absolutely love him. They absolutely love him. Go and do your research on Harry Armas right now after this show. They are loving him over there, and hopefully he can keep it up. And I definitely think he'll be knocking on to Ruben Amorim about potentially, you know, moving into the first team next season, having an opportunity if things stay the way that they are. The only thing I would say on this is we need players for now. We don't have an absolutely nailed on starting left wing back right now. And on the right-hand side, Ahmad's doing really, really well. But, of course, you need more than just one option. So it's good to see Manchester United exploring the market for younger players that have that potential. You know, catching them before they absolutely explode, getting it while the iron's hot and not then paying, you know, 80, 100 million for these sort of players if they ever get to that level. And if they don't, there is always a sell-on factor, which is what Manchester City have been doing for a while. You know, if not every single player that you buy into the academy or buys a young player is going to go on to be, you know, the next star boy. Not everybody's going to do that, but you can still, if you buy him at a cheap enough price, there's always usually a sell-on fee where you can make money. And if you do that enough times, that goes into your transfer budget and it just helps the club keep moving forward. So it's an exciting one to think about, and I think it's not one that I would look at now and say that's going to happen, but one to kind of keep in the back of your mind, maybe do a little bit of research on that. That is somebody who we could go for, and I would say it's going to be driven by Wilcox and Vivell, but Amorim will have some insight into this because Sporting was his previous club. And then last but not least, I'll leave you with this one. James Garner, contract expires in June 2026. Apparently Newcastle, West Ham and Brighton are monitoring the Everton midfielder, and a small fee in January or a free summer move is on the table. I mean, reports are that Everton are trying to tie him down to a new contract, but James Garner contract expires in June 2026. David Moyes has spoke nothing but incredible things about him. Been at Manchester United in the past, we know that. He actually was somebody that the fan base was crying out to play more, but never really got a big opportunity at Manchester United. Would you take him back at Manchester United on a free transfer to be an option for our midfield? Would he be somebody that you'd be looking at on a free transfer? Premier League proven. I mean, I've watched him for Everton this season. He looks really, really good. I won't close the door on it. However, if he wanted to be a starter, that's where questions would be asked, because I don't think he'd come in to be a starter. I think he could fight for a starting place, but I don't think he would be a nailed-on starter. I mean, we have got other really big options that we're looking at, but if you were looking as a squad option, would you consider it? That's something I'd ask you guys down in the comments. Let me know what you think. Carlo Montana says, would you auction a go to the game with Beth or join the post-match fan forum for the charity? Tour of the studio. Love the Christmas jumper. Would anyone bid for a go to the game with me? I've never even thought of that, to be honest with you. But do you know what? I think that's a really good idea. Would you auction a go to the game with Beth, join the post-match forum for the charity, tour of the studio, love the Christmas jumper? Carlo Montana, best super chat of the day. I love that idea, and it's definitely something that I'm going to take and think about, because, you know, anything that we can do to raise money for charity would be great, and they're all things that we can make happen. So I think that's a really good idea. And Ian Tracy, done your super chat, thank you very much. Look guys, smash a like on the video if you've not already. Yeah, you'd have to do a full Aaron G there. You'd have to do a full background check before coming to the game with me. I want to, you know, end up in the back of a van tied up. You'd need a full background check and, you know, maybe a witness as well. Who knows what would happen? But thank you everyone for watching. Let me know all of your thoughts. I'm just trying to get through the rest of your comments because it's a Friday, isn't it? And I just wanted to see what a few of you were saying. Nosebag 66, the atmosphere was better when we were winning, everything in sight. Well, fancy that. Exactly. You know, all of these things are contributing factors. Yeah, maybe we could do with go to the game with the cast of the fans forum. So then, if anything does happen, it's 4 versus 1. So, you know, we've got backup. But look, everyone, we'll leave it with that. It's something to think about. But whilst we are thinking about them things, there is a 12-hour charity stream happening tomorrow. Also, who's winning? Eubank or Ben? Who is winning? Eubank or Ben? I'm excited for that fight. It's going to be a good one. And I'll be tuning into the watch along. I'll be donating. So make sure you go and do anything you can to help us raise that money. I say us, Goldbridge, he's doing the 12-hour stream and he does it every year. So credits where it's due there. Ben, let's see. Thank you everyone for watching. Have a lovely weekend and I'll see you on the next one.